This one is example number 5, and I call it Love Machine, which is very similar to another song, the name of which I can't remember. So, let's have a listen. Alright, so I'll do that a little bit slower. Nice. Alright, so that is a use for the 5-string G dominant 9 chord and G9 13, G dominant 13. Going from 13 to 5th. In the top string on the E string, top E. So nice. Alright, so that's a funk kind of thing, and if you pay attention to the pick strokes that I've written down, then you'll see that we're using what I call rhythm strumming or rhythm picking. We're using the idea of continual right hand motion as a clock, a counter to keep your rhythm. So that the subdivision is 16th notes here. The idea behind it is to give you a physical way to count rhythm, if you're not familiar with. But I don't want to get into that now because that's a detailed subject, and we can save that for another video. All right, so let's look at a couple of examples for G7 sharp 9 sharp 5, G7 flat 9 flat 5, both G7 alt chords. So this is example 6, and it's going to be pretty simple. There's the sharp 5 sharp 9, there's the flat 5 flat 9, and finally there's the C minor 6. One more time. Nice. So complex names, but pretty simple idea. Altered dominant chords resolving to a minor 5-1 progression. 5, G5. They're both 5 and 1. Or 1 major. I didn't write that on the sheet, but you can throw that in. Alright, so let's look at a few more shapes that we can get that we haven't explored yet. It's example 7, and I've called it oddball altered dominance. So far, when we've sharpened the 9, we've sharpened the 5th. When we've flattened the 9, we've flattened the 5th. But what happens if you sharpen the 9 and flatten the 5th? Confusion. Alright, so G7 sharp 9, flat 5. Similar, but different. And what about the reverse? G7 flat 9, sharp 5. Yeah, a little bit different again. So these both, these only difference between this is the placement of the 4th finger. We've got the index finger covering pretty much the top 4 strings. Actually, I'm covering every string here at fret 9. So, and we've got 10A and 9D and 10G, and then where we're placing our 4th finger is the determining thing. So it's useful for these kind of chords to always have your index finger bar ready. Only thing you want to watch out for is not playing the low E string here. And you can, well, usually when you're playing jazz, you're being a bit more precise with your right hand, so you can, it's not like you're strumming so much, or you can pluck the notes. But if you are going wild, then you can use your 2nd finger to stub or touch the low E string as you press down the A string. So what I call sloppy fingering. It's not too easy to start with, but it's incredibly useful. Alright, so the next chord is G9 flat 5. It's a dominant 9 with a flat 5. This is what you might call a whole tone chord. as in that it derives from the whole tone scale, which goes 1, 2, or 9, 3, sharp 4, or flat 5, sharp 5, or flat 6, and flat 7. Don't worry if you didn't get all of that, but you will find this in the whole tone scale. So. Now that's an interesting chord. And the final one, which you also will find in the whole tone scale, is G dominant 9, sharp 5. So you basically play your G dominant 9 shape with your third finger barré, and you add your pinky on E11, 11E. And again, it's got that slightly unsettling sound. So let's look at example 8. We're going to go show how some of these chords can be used. So first, G9, flat 5, and due to the resemblance of this to the intro of a famous jazz tune, I've called this one Overnight Stay in a famous North African city. Again, so I can get my point across without, hopefully running into any copyright issues. So, I mean, I know jazz tunes tend to be considered public property, but you can't be too careful. So, we're going, and this is a 5-1 as well, although the 1 here is F sharp minor 6. So, we're using that tritone substitution idea. We use a chord, a dominant chord is semitone above the target chord. So, yeah. Please do make sure you download the tab from our blog site. There should be a link at the bottom of the video, because everything is explained here. It is hard to get the point across in these videos. They're not the ideal format for explaining complex fingering, but you should get the flavour. So if I haven't covered the exact fingering of every single chord, you will get everything you need there. And please, if you've got any questions, just leave a note on the blog. All right, so now we're going to go to example 9. We're going to use several chords. We're going to get a little bit excited here, a little bit crazy. We're going to play a lot of different chords here. So this is a 5-chord resolution. So this first one is G7 sharp 9 flat 5, and we move down a semitone for F sharp 7 flat 9 sharp 5. Okay, but it's just another altered chord. Then we go to F9 dominant 13. Okay, now this is one I haven't showed you so far. You've got a really weird stretch. 1, 2, 3 fret stretch on the top E with a pinky to 11. And this is going to cripple your fingers. So if you want, you can just use this alternative fingering to avoid finger destruction. And then the next one is basically a G dominant chord, E dominant 13. It's like a bar shape here. But we're very lightly touching the A string here with the third finger, just creating a dead note voicing. One of the differences between jazz is you don't get a lot of this root fifth action. That's not a jazz thing. So if you have a jazz chord, generally it tends to be a dead note voicing if it's in a low register, which means there's a big note between the root and the next highest note. Lets the chord breathe. And that's what we're doing here. We're doing a dead note voicing with a very subtle bit of third finger hovering, stubbing out that note. Finally, we've got A at 9 for our nice finishing tonic pastoral chord. So this is just showing how you can mix up a whole bunch of fancy chords, and the theme that unifies this is the movement of the upper voice or the melody note. Yeah, we've got a lot of complex named chords, but it's just this top note, moving up a semitone, and then finally it stays the same for the last chord. So that's what's going on. G7, sharp 9, flat 5, F sharp 7, flat 9, sharp 5, F9, E13, and A add 9. Let's try that again. Oops, keep playing the wrong chord on the tonic. That's a little bit challenging, that one. Okay, and the last sequence I want to do, example 10 is using dominant 9, raised 5 chords, and it's what I call a whole tone sequence. So we're going to take this chord and move it down in a series of steps, and then resolve to C major 6/9, which is a nice jazzy chord. Do it again.